I'm going to call this meeting to order of the Brawley City Council and successor agency to the Brawley Community Redevelopment Agency. Our regular meeting of Tuesday, October the 17th, 2017 at 6 p.m. Roll call, please.
The minutes will reflect all council members present.
Thank you. Invocation by Pastor Thomas Charlton of the First Gospel Church. The Full Gospel Church, I'm sorry.
Mr. Mayor, council, staff, guests, a wonderful group of high school students. Let's look to the Lord in prayer. Precious Heavenly Father, we thank you tonight. We thank you for the opportunity that we can gather in our city and make plans for our city. And Lord, we want it to be the right thing, and we know that there will be diversification of ideas. So we ask for your help tonight. We ask for guidance. We ask for wisdom for the council, and we ask that you would bless this meeting in the precious name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you very much.
And would everyone join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right.
Thank you all very much.
Yeah, is that what it is?
You got to echo.
The cadence was a little fast.
Item number 1 is approval of our agenda.
So,
I make a
I'll
motion.
entertain a motion.
so moved.
So
Second.
moved. Okay, motion second, whatever. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Public appearances and comments. These are not to exceed 4 minutes. This is the time for the public to address the council on any item not appearing on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city council. The mayor will recognize you, and when you come to the microphone, please state your name for the record. You are not allowed to make personal attacks on individuals or make comments which are slanderous or which may invade an individual's personal privacy. Please direct your questions and comments to the city council. And as part of that, we have a special presentation, item 2A, in honor of Dr. Ron Stillman for a distinguished service on the Brawley Library Board of Trustees and for generous support of the community of Brawley. And he's currently the California-Hawaii Elks State Trustee at the current time. And I have a proclamation to read for you in honor of Dr. Ron Stillman Day in the city of Brawley. And
Dr. Stillman, he could have told you this morning, right? It was your day, you know?
It's your day. I mean, you know. But I've known Dr. Stillman, Ron, for a long time here in Brawley. We went to high school together. I've worked with him with the Elks. I've worked with him a variety of community projects, seen him work hard at the library and the activity that he does there. We've handed out dictionaries. We've done a little bit of everything. So this is our proclamation for you. Whereas Dr. Ron Stillman has lived in Brawley for much of his life and served the community as a professional dentist for 36 years. And whereas Dr. Stillman serves as the secretary of the Benevolent and Protective Orders of Elks Lodge 1420 in Brawley, California, is also a member of the California-Hawaii Elks Association and the Elks National Foundation, and has held many local, district, and state offices, including the past Exalted Ruler, past State Vice President, and past District Deputy to the Grand Exalted Ruler. And whereas Dr. Stillman has worked tirelessly to support the work of the Elks Scholarship Committee and the Elks Dictionary Project, ensuring that each third grader in Imperial County North End schools receives a free dictionary each year. And whereas Dr. Stillman successfully competed at the national level to secure grants for top readers at the Brawley Public Library, outfitting students with 50 fully loaded backpacks for 3 years running. And whereas Dr. Stillman has been a cherished Library Board of Trustees member since September 1995, having performed the duties of secretary for 14 of his 22 years of service on the board. And whereas Dr. Stillman has dedicated his life's work to the service of others by supporting civic endeavors that ensure public access to libraries and information for the betterment of the community of Brawley. Now therefore, I, Sam Couchman, Mayor of the City of Brawley, hereby declare October 17th, 2017 as Dr. Ron Stillman Day in the City of Brawley. Very
Speech.
nice. Speech, would you like to come forward?
Forward. We have support from member comments as
There
well.
are board members.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor Couchman, Sam. Yeah, I think I probably well, I've known all of you a long time. Sam, though, I think I've known you over 50 years. I mean,
At
we grew up
least.
2 or 3 blocks apart and went to Witter School and grew up here.
All of that.
I think the one thing that I would like to say, I appreciate this, thank you very much. I've thoroughly enjoyed my years on the library board. My way and I thank you for allowing me that opportunity to give back to the city of Brawley. But the city of Brawley has actually given me way more than I could ever give back to the city of Brawley. So thank you for that opportunity. I mean, I grew up here, was educated here, learned how to do sports through the recreation program. We've got the greatest recreation program. Anyway, thank you very much. I'm going to miss you all. It's going to be quite a new adventure for Debbie and I, and I'll remember you all on March 26th, and that's Liz, I, and Marjo. Amazingly, all 3 share the same birthday.
Oh.
So every year on March 26th, I'll remember the library
Big party for
board.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Even if I'm back there, I'll remember everybody here in Brawley. So,
And
thank you.
what I would like to do is present you with the certificates and the proclamation, then we'll have some comments from the library board, and then we'll probably have some comments from our
Absolutely.
council. But we'll make the presentation first, and then we'll go to that, if that's okay. And as you can see, we at the
Yes,
city
sir.
went all out for you.
Yeah, hardware.
A lot of hard work, heavy hard work.
Something more to pack?
Yes, right.
Right.
And take with you and everything that you do. So we did a plaque in recognition of Dr. Ron Steelman with grateful appreciation for 22 years of outstanding dedicated service to the community of Brawley, October 17, 2017, and that's for your library service. And then this certificate, this proclamation, which I just read, is in honor of all the community service that you've done here. What I'd like to do is have the council come down and take a few pictures, then we'll do the comments, if that would be okay. We're gonna do it.
We'll have a lot more stuff.
Yes.
Oh. I still think Ron Steelman's
A golden broom.
I'm good.
Okay, this way. The newspaper can get there. Can I get you over here? Listen,
We're gonna have more comments. We got a lot of things. We can get roasted. Get out of the roast. We're gonna have a seat. We must. Yeah, we must. Yes, I'm afraid we must.
Seated or?
Come on up. We're gonna roast you. It's gonna be good.
Okay, I think the library board would like to come
Yes.
up and do some presentations.
Yes.
Let's let them do that.
Well, I'm Liz Lorenzen, and I'm the president of the library board. And I've been working with Dr. Stillman for 22 years. And it's been a pleasure. We've accomplished a lot. He has put a lot into the library board, and we really appreciate his service with us. He also was my dentist for a very long time.
most of us.
And as you all know, he's a very special person. This is a gift from the library staff for you to remember them by. And this is a gift from the library board. And we thought, or I thought, you might want to see what's on the Ivy Press on yesterday. And, there's a little something in here that'll probably pay for a couple rounds of golf. And if you hear this, you'll know what's in it. I didn't realize that when I wrapped it. So I just wanted to let you know that we really, really appreciate the work that you've done with us. And even the last few days that you haven't, or the last couple times you haven't been to meetings, you've really been missed, so.
Well, thank you. The board was an amazing group of people that were just totally dedicated. Judy, that took over the secretary job for me after all those years, and has done a great job.
Now I know why you were so.
I mean, it was like the next meeting after I started, I was the secretary, and then they wouldn't.
Funny how that works.
Immediately, and I wish Marjo were here, because Marjo is such a terrific library director. She really made our job very easy.
Yes, she
She
does.
is an amazing person, and you're very lucky to have Marjo over there running the library.
She's at a meeting in Sacramento, so for the California World Libraries Association, so it's a 3-day conference. So she was really upset that she was gonna have to miss this, but it was a gift from the state library, so it's kind of hard to say no.
Thank you.
Okay, as Dr. Stillman pointed out, I took over being the secretary of the library board. And thank you for that. You led me into that with my eyes closed. I did not know Dr. Stillman as long as some of you have, and before I ever met you though, I knew who you were because I was the yearbook advisor at Barbara Ward, and my students every year had to sell ads for the yearbook. And we always had an ad from you, and I knew when a student hadn't sold an ad, and I could go through, and I go, no, there's this nice dentist in town named Dr. Stillman, and here's his address. You always supported the young people, and you always encouraged them.
And I didn't go to Barbara Worth. Those 2 years I went to Mulberry.
Oh, my goodness. Well, we did. Barbara Worth appreciated your support in all those years of ads that you put into our yearbook. And I have a couple of things for you. We wanted you to have your notebook.
Oh, I know.
I've also inherited your job now, and picking up the notebooks after
I'm gonna need
the
another
meeting.
box.
And we can email you the updates so you can
Oh, man.
I can email you the minutes every month, so you know what we're doing. And I know you're leaving us, and you're going off to the land of the Southeast Conference of the Big 12. And I love you dearly, and I think it's truly wonderful that you're into Creighton. And my husband now keeps up with Creighton because of you, so we always know what they're doing.
Coach and I, we
That's
talk
right.
basketball.
But I'm warning you, do not be seduced into becoming an Arkansas Razorback fan.
My wife is.
Well, we won't forget, we
I'll
won't
do my
forgive her.
best.
But you need to resist that urge to become a Razorback fan. And then second to that is Oklahoma. You don't want to do that either.
I already know.
Okay, well, good.
I went to school in Nebraska, so
That's a good Cornhusker.
Cornhusker,
yeah.
We're
And
gonna
this
cover
is
that.
something that I found when we moved here. We went to church with the nicest people. Mrs. Dent. I don't know if you remember them. Her father was actually the man that her school is named for. I didn't know that. And she gave me this book when they moved. And I realized he's a famed photographer, and those are his pictures of the Imperial Valley. And I thought you might like one more thing to take with you.
I love books, and
Well,
I love books with pictures.
There you go. So anyway, it was a pleasure working with you. I will continue to take minutes after your fashion.
Oh, I know you will.
And you will be missed. You will be missed. And there's only one other.
And then, and I'm on the library commission, so I get to sit on the board with everyone else. And I have to say, he's the only gentleman, but he became one of the girls at that time. But not
Dr.
that
Stillman,
way.
come on.
He just really, he was good to us. He took care of us. We needed anything.
He put up
was,
with us.
yes, he put up with us. Exactly. More with that. But I have to say, he has a passion for everything he does with his heart. When he does the bags, when he does the backpacks, and what else do we do? What did we else do
Dictionaries.
this year. Anyway, a dictionary. And he just, you can tell that when he's giving them out, he's giving, and he says, oh, I don't need no pictures. But he's the one, because of him, he gets grants, you know, for the money to be able to purchase all these backpacks and dictionaries. So I have to say, I don't know who's gonna take over, but we promise, I think Elks is going to have to fly him in so he can come on the computer and do the grants for us.
I've kept really organized folders and notes.
And he does have the backpack program funded for next summer's reading.
Already,
It's already
so
taken
we're
care of.
blessed, we're blessed to have him, and we're not blessed that he's leaving us, but I'm hoping that he doesn't like the temperature and all the other things over there, and he'll come back and have to buy another house.
I've been a desert rat a long time.
Yeah, you have. You
He's like,
have.
I'm ready for a
Well,
change,
God
yeah.
bless you on your trip, and I tell you, we're gonna miss you terribly.
Thank you.
Okay, now, no, that's not it yet, no.
Well. Huh? Oh, okay.
Why don't you go ahead? Get a picture.
We'll just keep our comments brief.
Yes,
Yeah.
as brief as we can. We'll see.
You have a story, go ahead.
I'll have a story to tell. No, you guys will go ahead.
I know. Before you get home, the world will know.
Yeah, Debbie will know.
Okay. Ron, just have a seat. We'll entertain comments from the council now. Who would like to go first?
I can begin. I'll keep my comments brief, Dr. Stillman, but really you're a class act. We're here honoring you today, and you're really just talking about all the wonderful people around you. So it just goes to show the type of person that you are. You've always been a very jovial person with me. You've always had a very positive attitude, and you've always been very supportive of me, and I appreciate that. I also just want to thank you for the comments you made about Marjo and the dedicated library board. It's very true. But again, it goes to show the type of person that you are, the commitment you've made to our community, your jovial nature, and the fact that you contribute. I think it's wonderful. I'll always remember you, and not that you're going to go away forever, but I'll always remember you as being a very positive person and one who's committed to making life better for everyone here in the city of Brawley. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything that you've done, for a long career as a dentist, and for your time in the Elks and in the library board and all the other things that you've helped within our community. I just want to thank you very much and wish you all the best in your travels as you travel to your new location, and best of luck with your escrow that you just entered into, right? So again, thank you for everything that you've done, and I truly appreciate the comments that you made about not just our library staff, but the library board and your commitment. Thank you.
Norma?
Okay, I will keep it brief, a little more brief. Dr. Stillman and I go back many years. I knew him in the community, but then I heard he was a great dentist, and I thought, well, I'm going to go and visit him. And yes, I was one of his first patients, and I stayed with you for a very, very long time. And I have to say, this is not a roast, but I do want to compliment you on you are still my favorite dentist. So I just also enjoyed having you as a friend, as a neighbor, and enjoyed hearing about all the different things that you've done. I didn't have the opportunity to serve on the library board with you. I was actually looking forward to that being one of my rotational assignments. But I know you've done a lot of really nice, good things for the community. And you surely will be missed, because there's not too many people that are willing to dedicate that much time to help their neighbors, to help the kids in school, and do all the things that you have done. So we really, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you, and we'll miss you. And good luck on your, I don't even, where is it that you're moving to?
Springs, Arkansas.
Oh, wow. Okay, good luck.
He'll come back.
Just different bugs.
They're larger, yeah.
Yeah. Donnie?
Ron, I'm going to be the brave guy and actually roast you because I know for a fact, being that I did serve a couple years with the library board as well, that you're being carried by some very intelligent women in that room. So with that being said, it's okay, you can take the credit. Yeah. But with that, your years of service, too numerous to name. 36 years of putting smiles on people's faces. That's the indelible mark that probably will be remembered just about for, forever here as your legacy. And certainly, I know you picked a spot that's maybe going to be hard to get to in case we do send out a search party. But I just want to genuinely say you're one of the nicest, just genuinely good people in this community. And thank you for being you. And I hope you and Debbie, I wish you absolutely the best.
Helen, did you want to say anything else?
Well, just to add that I know Debbie will take good care of you, and you at the same time will take good care of her. You are that type of a person that whoever surrounds you, they will be very well taken care of. Thank you, and God bless you on your trip.
Yes, and Ronnie, I'll call you Ronnie because that's how I know you, and I know you know me as Sammy. I'll call you Ronnie.
Ronnie and Sammy.
I think the beauty of Brawley is knowing someone here for 55 years. Brawley is a small town. We kind of all grew up together. I think that's important. I think that's one of the things I love about Brawley. Knowing you that long, knowing how you've been involved in the community for so long. I think in the last few years, though, we've been really involved with the Elks, the 2 projects that the Elks put on, along with the library, and those are the dictionaries for the 3rd graders and the backpacks for the readers during the summer program. You've always included me in that. You've always called me to help you with that. I found out the last couple of years, I think it's because I have a pickup truck and we can haul those things around, but that's all good too. And I appreciate the calls though. You've always involved me in that, and as an Elk, I appreciate that involvement. You do all the work. We wind up helping you on the final day and get all, and you take pictures of us instead of yourself, and you take pictures of the kids, and you have to look at in their eyes and in their faces to really see what that means to this community and to those kids out there. And the backpacks during the summer, it means a lot to those children to start school with all kinds of school supplies, and I mean a lot of school supplies. And that's from the high school kids that receive those backpacks down to the little kids that receive those backpacks. And people, I don't think, realize the amount of work that you put in order to make that happen. And the library board too, and all the work they put in on an ongoing basis so that we have 2 functioning locations for our library, and the fact that we have that service for our community. And I think it serves a great purpose here in our community, and you've been a major part of that. On a personal level, I will say I will miss you very much here in Brawley. And on a professional level, I would say that Brawley will miss you even more because of the input that you've had and because of the community services that you've done here. Don't be a stranger. We want you to come back as much as possible. We want you to visit with us, but we certainly, I think, will miss all of the things that you've done for Brawley over the years. And so, but we'll remember that too, and I think part of this day is in remembrance of that and in honor of you and all that you've done. So thank you very much for that. And with that.
Thank you.
And so, okay. Yeah. We'll move on with.
Congratulations.
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 We'll move in with public appearances and comments. Is there anybody else that would like to address the council on any issue not on the agenda currently? Okay.
Somebody else?
If not, then I'll move forward on the agenda to the consent calendar.
They're going to be late.
Okay. And items are approved in one motion. Council members or members of the public may request consent items be considered separately at a time determined by the mayor. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any comment from the public on the consent agenda or anybody on the council? Okay. If not, I'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, now we'll go to item number 4, which is our regular business. And we have under 4A, our city attorney update regarding the Brawley Mobile Home Park. Bill?
City manager's going to get Guillermo, so
Oh.
he said he'd help us translate.
We're going to bring in a city employee, Guillermo Cias, to help us translate for this meeting and for this portion of the meeting. Okay, so let me know when you're all ready.
All set, Guillermo? So the couple meetings back, we were asked to put this on the agenda to let the council know whether, and let the public know whether or not an appeal had been filed regarding the council's decision to approve the impact mitigation report for the mobile home park. So the point of the report today is to let council know that an appeal has been filed. Council already is aware of that. City attorney's been given direction to aggressively defend against that appeal, and we're just getting started on that. That's really where we're at. I can't tell. I don't have any idea if that will affect the plans going forward or not. That's within the hands of the developers.
Okay. Guillermo, if you could maybe paraphrase that for the audience.
Sí, buenas noches. Lo que el abogado de la ciudad comenta es que en reuniones pasadas el concilio, los miembros del concilio han solicitado al abogado que investigue si ha habido una apelación al proceso en el Mobile Home Park, y el abogado confirma que efectivamente ha habido una apelación y que en este momento desconoce los detalles, pero que está trabajando en eso.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, there's
She has
a
a
member of the
question.
public that has a question.
Sure. Would you please come up to the microphone and state your name for the record, and then we'll be happy to listen to your comments.
Hi, my name is Xhosa. I'm one of the family members of the Brawley Mobile Park, and I want to know if you are going to keep us updated about what is going on with the trailer park, because they tell us that we have till the first week of November to move all the trailers, and so if we don't move the trailers, they're not going to pay us.
Well, ma'am, I don't know anything about that. All I know is there's been a lawsuit filed against the city by some of the families that live there, saying that they don't like the action of the council and they want to overturn that. And that's all I know. I have no idea about what anyone's telling you about moving your trailer or not. There's you'd have to speak to the owners, or possibly the AMG associates, the folks that want to buy the park.
Yeah, because we have a meeting 2 weeks ago, and they tell us that that in 2 weeks they're going to tell us if we have to move or if we can move the trailers, and they are going to pay us. And ¿cómo se dice?
Who is telling you this? So can you clarify? Who is
Veronica and,
Well,
right?
who did you meet with and who is telling you this? I'm sorry.
With the new owners.
With AMG?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they tell us that thing that we have till the first week of November to move all the trailers. If we don't move the trailers, they're not going to pay us.
Okay, I don't know about that, ma'am. I don't know about that at all. Like I say, the lawsuit that's been filed would if they were successful, would overturn everything, so nobody would pay anybody anything. So I really don't know what to tell you on that issue. You'd have to talk to the AMG folks about that if that's what they're telling you.
Yeah, because we always call Veronica, and she has no answer. She says one thing, and then next week she tells other thing.
Well, I can't speculate about why that is. It could be that because there's a lawsuit, I don't think they know what's going to happen either.
Okay.
I wish I had more answers for you, but with the lawsuit, I don't.
Okay. Thank you.
You bet.
I'm not sure if Mr. CS wants to do a translation of the
Yes.
questions that occurred just for primary Spanish speakers in the room.
Sí, la señorita Rosa es una residente del Mobile Home Park y comenta que alguna persona de MNG, la compañía, el nuevo dueño, les comentó que durante la primera semana de noviembre tendrán que desalojar el tráiler que tienen ahí o no recibirán ningún pago. El abogado de la ciudad comenta que no tiene conocimiento de los detalles sobre eso y que necesitan los residentes hablar con el dueño o con alguna persona, pero no con la ciudad. La señorita Rosa comenta de igual manera que hace 2 semanas tuvieron una reunión en la cual les informaron que durante las próximas 2 semanas les tendrán que desalojar el tráiler. También comenta que habló con una persona de nombre Verónica, pero que no le pudo dar una respuesta.
Hi there, my name's Evo Valadez, and I'm the manager for Brawley Mobile Home Park. I was there in that meeting, and what the new owner talked to all the tenants and myself, because I'm a tenant there too. They told them that that there was going to be 2 types of compensation. One for rental assistance and extra 500 that the old owner put in for the evaluation. And the other that she was talking about that they've been changing and supposedly they need to move the trailer and stuff like that. It's about what they said is that they'll get their full amount if they take the trailer from the park. So the thing is that it's not only that they won't receive the money, that they will receive for the first check, and if they don't decide not to take their trailer, they're going to stay there and there's expenses for them to do whatever they need to do to the trailer. But now I've been working on this for the past 4 months already. That I have people from Yuma, from San Diego, from the valley that they're willing to help. But the thing is that I need to know exactly when they'll take care of the first check, so they can start working on whatever needs to be done. Because right now, most of the people, they're scared if they take their trailer out, they won't get compensated for what they need to be compensated. There's some of them. Matter of fact, I even talked to the consultant, the ones that they did the evaluation, and they said that they're going to that it's okay for us to move the trailers. But like I said, everybody's afraid to do it, just thinking that they're losing. I haven't done it because I don't have the money to do it myself, but my trailer is almost ready to be moved from the park, because I'm taking it to another trailer park that is there, because it's a double wide. So like I said, myself, that's what I'm doing, and most of the people been telling other people, because I've been seeing on Facebook that they've been putting that this for free. If you want it, you can come and get it. And I've been seeing people there going in and trying to get the trailer from other people. But the thing is that other than just giving it away, I myself want to make sure that they're not just going to dump it in the freeway, or they're just going to take it somewhere that it shouldn't be. So for that reason, I told them that if they already found someone to take it, to sold it, or to whoever's going to give it to them for free, I wanted to know, so I can give you guys, and you guys can see that we're responsible and we're not just going to throw them away so we can get compensated. So for that reason, and they want to know if everything's going to go through, because everybody we're already it's been so long already that we just want to take care of, and pretty much me myself in a couple of months I'm going to be again struggling to see where I'm going to take my family. So just myself, and I know most of them that they have the same problem, because we gotta find a place month to month, pay more of rent that we should be paying for just having that resource or that kind of work, so we can move out and do what we need to do. Even though it's for myself, it's a double wide trailer, it's a lot for me, because we've been living there, and I know that it's potential for me and my family to know that I'm going somewhere that is going to be called home. So that's most of the people, what they're saying and what they're concerned. But hopefully by the end of this month, or probably the first of the following month, we'll receive our first check, so we can move out and then receive the other one to finish expenses, because what I'm getting, it's enough for me to take my trailer somewhere else. So for other people, they're giving it away. So I don't know what's the deal, but I'm trying to help, even though my trailer's moved and I'm not working for Brawley Mobile Home anymore. I'm still helping them. I want to make sure that they are taken care of. So I am talking to a lot of people, making sure that they'll be able to take their trailer so they can get compensated for the full amount. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
So you are allowing them to take the trailer?
No, it's not that if I'm allowing.
Okay. Oh.
It's it's the new owners. So what I'm doing is, if they don't move their trailer from there, they're only getting half of the check. For the rental assistance, for the extra $500 that the owner threw in, and for the $500 that they put for expenses for moving their stuff. Even though most of them, they don't have anything in their trailer, but that's what they're saying. So, no, regardless, they're already getting their amount on the first if everything goes well. But after the trailer is removed from there, they get their extra check that they should be receiving. So,
Mr. Valdez, are you the point of contact along with the, when you're speaking to the new owner, are you the point of contact, or is it they're contacting everybody individually?
oh no, they don't. I'm doing this for them.
No, I understand. I understand.
They don't talk to me for any type of, whatever needs to be done. I'm not.
How is the information being communicated? Is it just via those meetings that
me being a tenant and being at the meetings.
Okay.
But I'm just trying to do a little bit extra
Sure.
to help out my people, because I've been manager for more than 10 years, and I want to make sure that they be taken care of. Even though whatever other people have other things or whatever they're trying to put that lawsuit against those 6 tenants, it doesn't matter. I feel responsible for them, and I want to make sure that everybody's taken care of, not just, okay, I'm getting my part and I'm leaving. No, I want to make sure that everybody's going to be, taken care of before, after I leave.
Understood. Thank you.
So,
That's it.
just, Mr. Mayor, just
Yes,
for
go ahead.
point of clarification, since you've been attending the meetings, your understanding is that AMG has basically told all the tenants there that they will receive payment on the 1st of November when they move their trailers out?
No,
Is
no,
that,
no, no, no.
or what?
No. The way it works is 2 checks.
Okay.
The first check is for the rental assistance. The other extra $500 is for expensive for moving their stuff, and the other 5 is from the owner, the old owner, throwing in another $500 for them.
Okay.
So but the extra check that they're getting for removing their trailer, that's an extra check. If you leave your trailer there, you won't get your second check, but you'll be able to. You're receiving a check no matter, regardless if you leave it there or you take it, or it doesn't matter. You getting a check.
And that's on the 1st of November?
And that's on the 1st of November. If the whatever, lawsuit they have, it might take a little bit longer, but everybody wants to just finalize it. There's 38 tenants. They already said that it's fine. So for 6, we've been waiting for this 6 tenants. And really, I don't think it's fair. If it would be half and half, then, it's fine. But we're 38 tenants that we just want to continue with our lives and do what we need to do. And we've been stopped for just those 6 tenants. And I don't know who, I wouldn't like to say or tell them why they're doing it or whatever. I don't care. The only thing is that I think it's fair for us that we're 38, and they should say, you know what, Abel, tenants, 38 tenants, let's just take care of it, because that's what we want.
Thank you.
Any questions? No?
We better let Guillermo translate.
Better let Guillermo
Sure.
translate.
All right,
It's
so,
pretty
thank
long.
you.
Yeah.
It is long, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
And
you.
I think there is a representative
for your
here,
I think we
right?
needed
with
that to
CRLA,
hear.
is that?
Thank you.
Is
Okay.
there a representative here from CRLA in the audience?
No,
No?
doesn't look like it. Okay. Guillermo?
Ok, un poco hacer un resumen de lo más importante que dijo la persona para, yo creo que es lo que más les interesa a las personas que están en la demanda. Comentó la persona que principalmente les van a dar 2 cheques el 1 de noviembre. El primero es un cheque, no mencionó la cantidad, para asistencia de renta. Y el segundo cheque es por $500 para ayudarles con los gastos de mover el tráiler, si es que lo van a mover. Si no lo mueven, de cualquier manera recibirán su primer cheque, pero los $500 son adicionales si es que sacan su tráiler de ahí. También mencionó una tercera cantidad de $500 que es para el dueño. Sinceramente no me quedó claro para qué es ese tercer cheque. Y también menciona que son 38 las personas que aceptaron la propuesta y que 6 familias son las que están en la demanda y que por eso pues está detenido el proceso. También mencionó que él en lo particular quiere asegurarse de que el tráiler sea desechado de manera apropiada y que no nada más se vayan a deshacer de él y lo dejen abandonado en cualquier parte. Ok, y sería todo.
Are there any other comments from the public on this issue? Please step up.
Mi nombre es Petra Escudero. Mire, sobre lo de los cheques que están diciendo aquí el manager, lo que pasa que nos dijeron que el primer cheque que nos van a dar es por la asistencia de la renta. Y el segundo cheque que piensan dar es sobre el pago de la traila y los $500 para moverla. Entonces, si no la movemos, no vamos a recibir el segundo cheque. Entonces, nos dijeron en la junta que tuvimos hace 15 días, si la traila está movida para la primera semana de noviembre, se les van a entregar los 2 cheques. Entonces, la mayoría de la gente ya ha puesto que las regalan o que las venden a una muy baja cantidad. En mi caso, yo tengo comprador. El señor fue a verla, entonces como a mí me habían dicho que el miércoles pasado ya íbamos a tener respuesta para darnos, dijo la señora Verónica, para darnos luz verde para poder mover las trailas. Entonces, no nos ha comunicado nada a ella y pues muchas personas ya les han robado hasta los jalones de las trailas. Personas de la tercera edad ya las pusieron a regalarlas para que se las puedan llevar y ellos no estar batallando. Pero no nos da ninguna resolución de nada, pues. Y es lo que nosotros queremos saber, de que, pues, nos dieron esta hoja, a cada quien con su cantidad diferente, de que les tocaba, pero sin ningún sello, ninguna firma de nada. Entonces, pues, todas las personas estamos, pues, molestas porque, pues, con esta hoja, ¿qué podemos comprobar? Nada, porque no tiene firma de que ellos nos la dieron. Y es lo que queremos nosotros, pues, que nos digan cuándo se pueden mover. Y las personas que ya tienen comprador, pues en mi caso ya el señor que me la va a comprar, él me está diciendo cuándo puedo empezar a desarmarla, porque usted sabe que es movimiento de quitarle lo de abajo y todo. Dice, para yo empezar a buscar quién me la va a mover, pero no tengo respuesta de nada. Y ya qué fecha estamos, ya vamos a pues más de la mitad del mes. Gracias.
I'm going to ask Guillermo to provide some translation there.
Yes, she mentioned something similar to on the meeting that happened 2 weeks ago, that the first check is for rental assistance, and the second one is for the payment of the trailer and $500 to move it. She said that people is afraid that to do something with the trailer because they don't have any assurance that they will either be receiving the money from a trusted source, because they have just a paper with the amount of money that everyone will receive, but there's no seal, there's no signature, and they're afraid that, uncertainty. And in her particular case, she has a buyer, but she would like to have more details to make sure that she can move it safely.
Okay. All right. I guess my question is, do we have an agreement? We've had a meeting with the new owners or the prospective new owners, and they agreed to some of these payments. Did they agree to those in a public meeting, and is that on record? Or is that something that they've agreed with the people in these private meetings?
So what has happened is they put a mitigation proposal together. It was presented at council. Council approved it.
Hey, Bill,
Now-
can't hardly hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. So council approved their mitigation proposal. You even imposed more, council imposed even more stringent mitigation requirements. That is binding, so in order to close that, they have to abide by those conditions. However, these 6 families have filed suit trying to overturn that.
Okay.
So, what we don't know as a city and what we do not control as a city is whether or not the AMG is going to go through with the plan to buy the park. I don't know if they're going to do that or not. And if they don't buy the park, then they aren't going to make the payments. But I'm not saying that they're not going to buy it, I just don't know. I've been in contact with their attorneys, and I haven't gotten a definitive answer. I was in contact with the prior or current owner. I don't know if escrow's closed. I was in contact with their attorney today, and they're trying to figure out if there's a way to settle this. I was in contact with the attorney for the 6 families today and wanted to find out if there's a way to settle it. That attorney had no concept, could tell me nothing about what these 6 families wanted by way of settlement. So I'm getting nowhere with them. So that's what I don't know, Mr. Mayor, is whether or not AMG is continuing to press forward with the plan, and if they do, that mitigation plan is binding on them. They can't close without paying those.
So if they move forward and they want to close, they need to make the payments as they have agreed to each of the people that reside within the trailer park, and they would be bound by our public meeting and their agreement with the mitigation that we approved to pay those payments. However, if the lawsuit precludes them purchasing that property, then I would assume that at that point in time, they're not obligated necessarily to pay anything, since they're not going to be owning the property. So, I mean,
That's correct, with one caveat. If the lawsuit precludes them from buying it, somehow they're prevented by the court, or if they back out because of the lawsuit, which they may do. And I'm not saying they will, because I don't know.
then they would not have to make those payments, or they would not be under any obligation to make those payments. It's only if it's going to go through, or if they prevail in the lawsuit, then they would make those necessary payments.
Yes.
Okay.
In the meantime, it's very sad that these people are here, they're citizens of Brawley. Our hands are tied because we're being sued. And then again, they have no way of, those that want to take their trailer so they can move back into their trailers, are not able to do that. I really would like for you to talk to the lawyer and ask him, they were told, move the trailer before November 1st and you'll get both checks. So that's what they want to do, but for whatever reason, they're being stopped from doing this. So if they explain to them and they have a meeting with them and they tell them, this is what I want you to do, and they're not going forth, like Sam said, they really need to do something, because these people need answers.
Well, I will reach out to AMG's lawyer again in the morning and see if he's willing to commit one way or the other as to whether they're going forward.
I would also suggest meeting with this, or talking to the CRLA lawyer attorney and see what they're planning to do. It seems to me that because this is in limbo due to a lawsuit, that's what seems to be the stumbling block that I can see there for resolution, at least for the majority of the tenants there. And so that's a thing that we really don't have any control over the lawsuit. They sue us, and we move forward with whatever legal action needs to be taken. And so it kind of puts the tenants in limbo, but it also puts us as a city in limbo as regards this whole issue. And also the potential buyers, because it does pose a different situation for them. If everybody's in agreement, they make the payment and everything moves forward. If everybody's not in agreement, then that's where the stoppage occurs. So,
and Mr. Mayor, it is the lawsuit that was served on the city is by CRLA and Western Poverty Law Center, so it's two entities. Is there anyone here from CRLA or Western Poverty Law Center in the audience? There's no one?
It doesn't look like it. Okay. So do we want Guillermo to do some translating of what we've just talked about, and then we'll move forward, I guess, at this point in time?
Bueno, los miembros del concilio de la ciudad están preocupados por la situación por la que están atravesando los residentes del Mobile Home Park, porque son residentes de la ciudad de Brawley y lamentablemente la ciudad no tiene el control sobre este acuerdo privado y la demanda. El abogado comenta que no tiene él los detalles sobre la demanda de cuál es lo que están pidiendo a las 6 familias. Y también está la incertidumbre de que se realice el trato o la compra de la propiedad por parte de esta compañía y por la demanda. Si no se puede concretar la compra debido a la demanda, entonces los compradores no estarían obligados a pagarle a los residentes.
Any other comment from the public? Eric, please come forward.
Eric Reyes, 1128 Court. I guess my question is, on the lawsuit, it's only with the city of Brawley, not the owners, if I can ask?
No, that's not. The owners are defendants too.
Mm.
But, so the lawsuit is suing them for damages.
Okay.
What they're suing the city for is just to overturn the council's decision.
Right, they are appealing the decision for you guys to allow the compensation going forward as outlined?
Yes.
Okay, so the ongoing lawsuit against the owners, it's the past owners, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, the
Current owners.
Yeah, I mean, the one not trying to sell. That's what I mean.
The seller.
Attempting to sell, right. So obviously that could hold up a long time if there isn't a quick settlement.
Well, so what'll happen, probably, Mr. Reyes, is that the court's most likely going to bifurcate this because the lawsuit against the sellers,
Right.
you're entitled to a jury trial and,
Right.
and the whole thing. But a writ of mandate, you're not. It's a judge alone thing, and so the judge will probably split it and hear that writ of mandate sooner rather than later.
Okay, great.
And we intend to challenge that by way of demur anyway, so that'll be coming up shortly. But it's still not. It's still it's still legal action, so it goes a lot slower than most people
Right.
think.
So the appeal is for the decision that the city made.
Yes, sir.
Separate from the, and I know the council added, we want to make sure they have language in there, as we talked about not putting that contingency about them by a certain day. I don't think you had that in there. So I think that's something come up by the new owners attempting to buy the property.
I don't know. I'm not clear what the.
Yeah, I'm saying the city did not agree to a timeline on it, did they?
Are you talking about the November 1st?
Yeah.
The mobile home park report made reference to a methodology. It was kind of a generic
Okay.
Right.
methodology that was defined as to how payments would be approached,
Okay. Thank you.
But not necessarily timeframes.
not specific dates.
Not specific dates.
Yes, all right. We want to make sure that's clarified
Right.
for the residents.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm
thank
gonna
you.
call
It
and look
was at
into
the
that.
meeting that they had with them, but not with us.
Okay. Any other comments from the public? Any other comments from the council?
I think.
She had something else to say.
She had a question? Oh,
Yes.
come on up.
Nada más quería comunicarles, el día que tuvimos hace 2 semanas la junta, cuando empezó la junta, la señora Verónica y el nuevo comprador dijo que las 6 familias, nos dijo, a ustedes ya se arregló, se les va a pagar. Las 6 familias ya va a ser un asunto aparte. Entonces es lo que nosotros decimos, si ellos ya nos dijeron a todas las demás familias que era parte ya lo de las 6 familias, ¿por qué nos están deteniendo a nosotros? Y otra cosa de que nosotros esa vez le pedimos aquí a Abel que le dijera, pues al que es dueño todavía, que pusiera alguien que cuidara, porque están destruyendo, pero horriblemente las trailers. Las están destruyendo y quieren que las saquemos o que las vendamos o que las regalamos. ¿Quién va a quererse llevar basura a última hora? Gracias.
I'd like a translation of that, please.
Great point.
Thank you, Guillermo, for
Thank you for this. I know it's difficult. Thank you.
Okay, the lady mentioned that a person with name Veronica and the buyer, the potential buyer, told them to the 38 families that they will receive the payment, and that the 6 families that are appealing, they will be a separate matter, that it wouldn't affect the deal with the 38 families. However, everything is being in hold, and she would like to know why. And also, she said that in that meeting that happened 2 weeks ago, they asked the current owner to put some guardian to prevent the vandalism that is occurring, and because she's afraid that later on it will be just destroyed trailers that won't have any value.
Okay.
In other words, they're already going into destroying a lot of the trailers. And she's saying by the time they take those trailers, nobody's going to want to buy them.
It's people that are just coming in through without any security. They're
Right.
coming, walking through and stealing the stuff or doing
Yes.
whatever they're doing to the trailers, okay. So that's an ongoing issue, and certainly we want to maybe address that with the attorney of the, whoever the owner is right now. I think that's up in the air a little bit.
Well, I'm in contact with both sets of
So-
attorneys.
so you'll
I
talk
will
to
address
them.
with both.
So you'll
Mr.
address
Mayor,
that with
I'm
them.
sorry to
Yes,
interrupt,
sir, go
Mr.
ahead.
Mayor. With respect to any further discussion, I would just see if we could address a next step, whether that's an updated or next council meeting, or, we can agree upon that.
I think that would be fine. Also, I have an expectation from the city that we would try to keep the clients informed as to what's going on, at least at the city level, on this issue as much as we possibly can. I don't know that we have all the information. I think when it gets into the courts and you have the attorneys talking about that, that's sometimes a difficult proposition, but I would expect us to try to keep the locals at least informed as much as we can as to the city's progress with it, or the city's information that we may have, and I would expect staff to do that. And I think I would be giving direction to staff to attempt to do that as best as is possible. I think some of us probably don't know any more than anybody else, but we try to stay informed about this, and it's working through a legal process now, which kind of removes us a little bit from the issue, and a lot of times it's communication between attorneys, and we can't go out and communicate, because in some cases, for court cases, it's private conversations or whatever, and we're not able to do that. But I would hope that as much as is possible, we can communicate with the residences that are still there, or that have trailers that are still there. I don't think anybody's living there, but you still need to communicate.
El señor Major Sam comenta que para la próxima reunión del concilio proveerán información tan pronto como sea disponible, y también quiere asegurarle a los residentes de que la ciudad estará proveyendo información al nivel que pueda conseguirla, porque a veces cuando son situaciones de corte o situaciones legales, la información es privilegiada entre las partes privadas, y el abogado de la ciudad estará trabajando junto con el resto del staff de la ciudad para informar a los residentes cuando la información esté disponible.
So I think at this point in time, we will leave it at that. We'll get an update at our next meeting. We'll also try to forward any information that we might receive when you talk to the attorneys tomorrow, and we'll see where that goes. I'd like to at least pin them down on that first payment, if that's going to be made. If it's not going to be made, at least we can tell people that. Okay?
Yes, sir.
If that's okay with everyone? Okay. All right.
Hasta aquí quedará la conversación a este respecto, y el día de mañana el abogado de la ciudad se pondrá en contacto con los abogados de los compradores y vendedores para obtener más información.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, thank you very much. Thank you, Guillermo. 4B, we'll move forward on the agenda to 4B, discussion and potential action regarding the request to support a community stage in
Sam,
concept.
Hold on for a second, let
Oh,
them.
okay.
Mr. Mayor, I just would like to thank Guillermo for his services tonight. Thank you very much. I know
Thank
it's
you, Guillermo.
difficult to
Excellent.
translate,
Your
and thank
second
you very
job.
much.
I wish I could translate that one.
Okay.
It's so good.
It's really good. Gracias por venir, todos.
I didn't see her back there. I'd just like to find out about the first payment, and after that, I don't know that we can tell.
Because I wanted to tomorrow. I wanted the resident.
I know. But they're not really.
She was back there?
They're not really.
She just didn't say anything?
We're just dealing with.
Are you the guy who's doing
I wanted to tell the residents to go talk to them.
Okay.
These people are not going to.
Okay, with that, 4B, discussion and potential action regarding the request to support a community stage in concept and dedicated set improvement at Xhosa Park as the Miguel Miranda El Amigo de la Comunidad community stage.
Can you say that again, Mr. Mayor?
He's been practicing.
No, I can't say that again, no.
3 times real
Now, that
fast.
was
Say
good
it.
Spanish there.
Say it, I try. It
Can
doesn't
you
always
please
work,
translate
but
for
I
Mr.
try.
Mayor here, please? Thank you.
I try. You guys cut me some slack.
Yeah.
Okay, here
Yeah.
we go. Okay, so who is going to, is it Rosanna that's going to talk about this?
Cuando le dije se-
Okay.
se asustó.
Supervisor Kelly was wearing a suit just an hour ago, and now he's dressed down. I saw him in a meeting.
He must have gone for a
Incognito,
jog.
he just identified
I know we have,
everybody in
he's
the
been
audience.
identified.
Now he's a target. I don't know.
Good
Okay.
evening, Mayor, Councilman. Are we ready? I'm sorry.
I think we're ready,
spoke out of hand.
yes.
Are we- Okay.
I think we're ready.
Pat Dorsey, good evening. Pat Dorsey, Parks and Recreation Director. Our subject today is Xhosa Park, proposed community project to build a Miguel Miranda, El Amigo de la Comunidad, community stage.
She said it very well, Mr. Mayor.
I thought that, yes, better than I did.
Okay. On behalf of an ad hoc committee, Mr. Eric Reyes has submitted a request to approve a project concept at Xhosa Park that consists of a performance stage and associated improvements. The general concept include potential incorporating features of the existing water storage tank to preserve local history. In addition to approval of the project concept, the ad hoc committee requests that City Council consider potential action to name the future facility the Miguel Miranda El Amigo de la Comunidad Community Stage. The Parks and Recreation Department supports numerous streets and activities on annual basis at Xhosa Park. The park property is highly utilized and additional improvements are welcome additions. The ad hoc committee pledges to work closely with the City of Brawley, Parks and Recreation Department, Planning and Community Development Services Department to meet all requirements. City Council approval is required to move forward with a common goal of pursuing a stage named in honor of the late Miguel Miranda. Mr. Miranda served the community in countless ways, including an elected official for the City of Brawley and community advocate. Any questions? Or can I take a moment to let Eric say a few
Yes.
words?
Please.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pat.
Go ahead.
I only have two pictures here, just,
Okay.
oop, that one, to move it next?
You can either.
Oh, wrong one.
Lay it down here, or you can.
There you go.
There it
There
is.
you go, there you go.
That was a pretty good one, though.
Yeah, Enrico Macho. The two pictures highlight why we, as an ad hoc committee, loosely based among all the organizations that usually use Xhosa Park, including Frankie Chavez Foundation, the Anthony Garcia Foundation, the Hidalgo Society, St. Margaret Mary Church, Victory Outreach, and you'll see on our ad hoc committee, there are members of those organizations on there as well. As you can see, when we have performances, the kids are dancing on grass. They can't really get the full concept of how the dance is made because there's a rhythm and a sound made to it. Also, the bands are playing, and we have to haul in generators and other things. They're playing on the grass as well. It's all for great causes. Xhosa Park is the most used public park for these type of activities. As my brother Max coming in, as Helen and everyone who has been around, they host from car shows to Cinco de Mayo to Victory Outreach revivals. Another church revival, Victory Outreach is the one that uses it the most, and they haul in their own stage and their own tarps and so on. We can make this into a performing arts center, and doesn't take away any park area that we need, that we are currently using. It's a tank we want to use underneath the tank and about 30 feet out from the tank for the actual stage, as you'll see in the drawings. These are some of the preliminary drawings here, and you have the preliminary drawing. These are not the official drawings that we work with the city if we get this approved. And for technical support, I have Billy Gallegos from his engineering firm, who will be actually the actual engineer, structural engineer, who will be stamping the program, saving us tens of thousands of dollars. We have already had surveying done by Jimmy Sanders Construction and Todd Dial, Ray T. Dial, donated to us as well, so we can have the elevations and the structures and everything engineered correctly. So you can see that it is a community project, and to date, we have had several fundraisers, comedy shows put on by Nacho Molina, who is Miguel's nephew. He's here in attendance, and his wife. And we have done our own events, Cesar Chavez events on downtown here. And we just recently had the Harvest Festival, also with a tribute to Miguel Miranda as well, that has allowed us to basically be able to come forward now and ask you that, one, officially name it, because we want to go after other donors, but they keep telling us, well, you don't actually have the official go-ahead from the city, even though in concept we've discussed it, and it's something everyone has said that it will improve the park and provide a great format for a lot of performances, not just ones that are there, but I think it'll open it up for a lot of other projects as well. There was a comment by someone out in cyberspace, it's just throw a slab. We're not throwing a slab. We're going to make something with class and dignity, just like Miguel had, and what the city deserves, and we're going to have in phases. So it's going to take us a while to raise the money. And in talking to Roseanne, there could be some issues, but the city is not going to put money into the actual stage and performance. And I used to work for the building trades and certain unions, and they have given us their support as well, that they will support us with labor and not invoke anything, because it's not city use funds for that. Obviously, the tank for funds is going to be taken down by the city. It's one of the capital projects you put into raising the water and sewer rates. I'm talking with the city manager to understand there's priorities before this, and that's understandable. That gives us the time to raise the proper amount of money to what we want to do. That's what we said in phases. And I know,
I'm
yes.
sorry to interrupt you. Just a question with respect to cost. Do you have an idea if it was fully built out the way the way your concept is designed? Is there an estimate of cost? I mean, it's probably hard to say too, because there's volunteer. And
Yeah,
there's
but
other-
materials alone, we have an estimated cost of $70,000, which we can raise in phase. We've already raised the first 25. That's why we're here. That's why we want to spend that first 25 and show the community that we have a viable project that's approved by the city and is going to be named after our friend Miguel. And, okay, now I'm going to get to Miguel. In your handout, not everyone has a handout, but there's other drawings by Billy here. It shows what we're contemplating. It's kind of drawn out there as well. The stage, and then where it'll be situated on the tank, and then the first cover. The first cover will be like they're using out in the recreation areas and so on. Later, the last phase will be the actual finishing touch, once the tank is down, to make a very nice top for it as well. So in our phase one, which we'll work with the city on, if it's possible or not, we're looking at, we have a donation from the company of Billy Gallegos, his engineering company, construction company. We'd like to remove the center piping, cover it up on top in the tank, so then we can cement the whole bottom underneath the tank and a little bit out beyond the tank. We'll work with the city on it exactly to the specifications. Demo all the existing and abandon the piping to 2 feet below the ground, cap the piping. Obviously we have to cap the pipe if we take it out. Cut it, cap it, take the middle pipe out, and cap the tank as well. And we'll install a 6-inch thick, 70-foot hexagon reinforced concrete. That is the dance floor. That is the place where you put your tables. That is where you put your chairs, or you can put them around there and everybody can dance on there as well. So it has a multiple uses as well. Wrestling tournaments. We had a wrestling tournament. We did it in the kiosk. The existing one, this would be even better. There's many things that can be done on that, right? So that's phase one that we're asking for. Phase two, then we will construct the stage and the electrical room. And if you see, the stage itself will be buttressing what the pillars underneath and built back. We measured it, doesn't interfere with anything that's going on. Even the new walkway, the ADA walkway, does not interfere with that because it's on the outside by H Street. So we have that. That would be phase two, to build the actual stage itself and the electrical room. We have help from the IAD coming on that when it gets to that point. And then phase 3, install the whole electrical service, 600 amp electrical equipment, lighting and outlets. And these are serious, the existing electrical you have at the Xhosa needs a serious upgrade to begin with. We have had many events there and always pops and multiple issues. So we want to have a separate electrical room for the stage and the other lights that we need for there. And then phase 4, obviously the city will remove the tank to the very first level. If you see on there the tank, you have a picture of the tank. See the ring around it? We want it to stay, we want to use the existing pillars as part of the stage and for the structure, the shade structure. So we incorporate a part of our history to remain as well. Therefore, you don't have to take out the footings of the pillars and so on. So there's a lot of things that we have involved in there. And Miguel was one of the original members when we were approached. Actually, we were approached by Karen Morgan when she was when the city no longer was using the water. She said, "Look, that tank is going to be taken down eventually. What would you guys like to do at that park?" She came to us. She knew that we used that park over and over again for many things. I've been there all my life, so I still use that park for those events. There used to be an old kiosco, legendary in our family, because my dad and our grandfather used to do Cinco de Mayo fiestas there. You remember the old kiosco, maybe? So it's something that we've all dreamed of. Fortunately, the city wasn't able to take it down yet. Until now, it's no longer a special project. It is a project you already have phased in at some point. So we're not asking for a favor. We're asking for a safety issue. It needs to be taken down. You have identified the tank as something that needs to be taken down for many reasons. And Miguel Miranda, besides being elected, he met the criteria. I asked for the criteria of how you name city facilities. He met it on many levels. He was twice a city council member, once appointed to fill out a term, and also elected. He was part of many organizations for many, many years, and in particular the ones that use that park, the Mons Hidalgo. He's an honorary member for life. Anthony Garcia will always be on the board, honorary, obviously, his compa. Frankie Chavez has ran that thing for Frankie for 20 years. And you could say there are other people that could be named after, but Miguel was part of that, part of us, and this is what we're here for. So I ask you to move it forward and name it for Miguel. And I have Billy Bugallos. You come forward. Billy will say something on the technical side.
I think the objective is to go ahead and try to salvage as much as we can of the tank. But because of funds, we have to do it in phases. So we would go ahead and build the concrete dance floor and the stage, which is not attached to the tank itself. The only thing that we're going to plan to attach to the tank would be the wind sails, be temporary shade, very light, and nothing compared to the amount of water that was up there. Mm-hmm. So that'll be temporary, give us some shade, and then as funds become available, then we'll be able to demo the tank to the first level. And I have some people that can do it. I've demoed probably 12 tanks already. So we'll demo it from the top, in reverse order for how we build it. We'll knock it back down. And we'll bring them down to the first level. And then we'll be able to build the permanent shade structure, which is comparable to the one that is there, the smaller one. We'll have to relocate one or maybe two, I think it's just one of the horseshoe stalls moved to the east, or to the east, and rebuild it there. So that'd be part of the first stage.
What time frame are you talking about? Do you have any idea?
Well, it depends on how much funds we get, but the first phase, let's go, we want to go ahead and start that right away. That's what would be the installation of the slab, which would be the hexagon, this one right here. And these here,
And that's not under the tank, that's
No, it's
away
under
from
the
the tank?
It is under the tank.
Oh, that is under the tank?
It's under the tank. Here's a center pipe.
Oh,
These
okay.
are the columns right here. These are the columns of the tank. And so we're going out 10 feet beyond the columns. okay, and with a 6-inch concrete. Now, that's not gonna affect the structure at all. It's just gonna have, instead of dirt, it'll have concrete. So that's the first part we want to do. And then the second part would be build the stage. If you look at the second page, this is the front of the stage, and then this is the cross section of the stage. Same thing, this part right here will not be attached to the tank at all.
Right, and it has the ADA ramp requirement as well, if you see it on there. That's for Turi Duarte and many others like that.
Yeah, no, we definitely follow, definitely
Got to be
gonna follow all the rules and regulations that are necessary. We did this hand sketch, and mainly because we don't want to pay somebody $10,000 to do the drawings. You know, so.
Save.
By hand, but basically this is the way it's going to be. You know.
So what, excuse me, Bill, what, and Eric, what time frame do you foresee? I mean, first the concrete and then the stage. So what time frame are we looking at? Like,
okay, why don't we get to go ahead and have the many pictures?
Yeah, once we get to go ahead, then we sit down and actually do the actual drawings and meet requirements and meet with the city. We're looking at the beginning of January, February, probably around the time that Frankie Chavez has his fundraiser in February, that we would throw the slab completely underneath the tank and the 10 feet beyond. And people will see how large a project it is. You really can't see it the way it is currently. If you see that cement, you understand how large a project it is and how great it can be for our community. And there, it will take us another year to raise the funds to build the next phase.
Once we build a plan, then you'll be able to use it right away. It's, getting the approval and getting the drawings approved, whatever the city takes. But the actual construction should only take a couple of weeks. You know. We'll go in there, grade it, remove all the piping, and then place the concrete. And so it'll be ready to use in 3 weeks. And the stage will take us a little bit longer. That'll probably be up like about 6 weeks to get the stage built. And then the electrical, that should take us another 3 weeks, 4 weeks, depending on how much, because it's all volunteer work, so how much people are
Sure.
available.
so I know you have an ad hoc, oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to make the comment, thank you for the conceptuals. It looks like really what we're looking for is just accepting the concept and moving forward. 'cause
Concept,
that's
and then we also
probably-
work with city staff to make sure we
To
meet
make
all
sure,
requirements.
yeah.
And
Certainly.
and actually, and very important for us is the naming. You know, you'll put your heart and soul into something, you want to make sure it's named for how those of us that are putting into it. And I want to make sure you know that Stella Miranda, his widow, is here. Stella?
Hi, Stella. Well, I would just like to say that I think I fully support the naming of the memorial in Miguel Miranda's name, as you have indicated. I think we could probably all agree on the concept today. I'm not sure what else we could do at this point, or if you require anything else.
Well, the potential action is to support the stage concept. I'm in support as well. Anytime we can have a concept to make a community improvement that is getting community members involved and volunteers involved, and certainly to recognize somebody like Miguel, who, as you all know, is, I served with and I had a high level of respect for, and he's just a great person to recognize, and his family members are here, of course. But I'm in full support. Of course, this is just the general concept, and it looks like, this is, it still needs to be finalized, but I think what we can do is agree on council. If there's, support for it, we can move forward.
Yeah, and I just had one question, and I'm just going to echo everyone says. I think conceptually, what a great project, and I think it's been a long time coming and discussed. And then, of course, I've had the honor of also serving with Miguel, so, I can't think of anything else that he's put his heart and soul into that location. My question was just more, I know there's a lot of technical questions, so I appreciate Mr. Gallegos being here. My only one was just one of the budget, and I know that the staff recommendation sensitive to that. It does caveat the fact it is definitely a CapEx expenditure that we're looking at in the future, but it was at no particular specific time. So my only concern would just be one of timing. If the cart got before the horse, just being sensitive to that we are working together, as a community, and we just need to make sure, because we have had a rather, but we've had some tough roads, both behind us and probably still ahead of us on the budget. So that's the only thing I wanted to be sensitive about.
Yeah, and understanding the budget as it works as well. This is not taking anything from general funds.
Right.
This will only be from the water and sewer rates that you just raised for the purpose of a lot of capital projects, including the tank.
And part of, I should say, part of their rendering is to include it as it's constructed now. So, they realize it will take some time to bring it down.
What I can say, the way we phased it would be that we would build, each component will be done. And in other words, there will be no liability on the city as far as the structure that we build, the phase that we build, needing more construction. So we'll build the pad first, and then we'll go over to build the stage. And so each phase will be constructed completely. That way there is no doubt that eventually we'll build it. But even if they stand alone, say we don't get to build it, the canopy the way it's designed, we still have a complete dance floor and a complete stage. And then we'll move into the power. Power. So now the stage and the dance floor can function on its own. It just may not have it completely like the other one.
I know, there's fencing around, I just looking at the picture,
Yes.
but and even though I know people can get over a fence, so I know the risk of, scaling the towers has potentially been there, but with the proposed phases, as this is built, is there kind of a mitigation for that?
Our plan is to work with the city to include extra fencing that we would install.
Okay.
To kind of incorporate right now it's right up, no, it's not, well, you have a little bridge, and it's a few feet from each pillar. It would actually extend out to where the cement will end, and we'll build the same, we'll add that fence to that part.
You're going to expect to not have it open to the public necessarily?
Not yet.
It would be closed off?
Yes, just as it is now.
Until we mitigate the tower issues, because
we'll have that discussion later.
You can let people use it. Well, yeah, you can let people use it, but I think you've got to kind of control their access in terms of the tower while the tower is still standing.
Yeah, I say we can.
That's the control thing.
With controlled access is fine, but I think the electrical is going to be like one of the last phases, and then the actual, once the tank is down, the building the nicer covering for it. But if we build that stage and floor, we can use it with generators and so on, because we need that to draw the interest to what we're doing as well. And I think the city would be able to work with us on access, limited access for that point.
Right. No, and I understand all the concepts. I mean, with respect to mitigation of safety concerns, with respect to time frame, you know that it's going to take us a while before we can. So.
The plan as far as the columns up to the, I find it. But the plan is to go ahead and go ahead and form the columns, stucco to a certain height, and then put a barrier on top, like a nice barrier where we can't go any further.
Right. It would prevent.
Now, we will have to have one area with a door, with a steel door.
Yeah, those are things we'll work out with the city as MOSOR.
The other column, they won't be able to climb, they won't be able to follow up the.
Understood.
The stop wall.
May I ask what these shade is, what cost?
The shade structure is an example of what we want to put.
At first, as the tank is still up.
Instead of the permanent.
Yeah. So we won't be able to put the permanent top until the tank is actually down.
Okay, so that shade is just, it's going to be temporary.
It's going to be temporary until we get built with it.
Okay, so then can we have that shade for the water park?
After? Sure, of course.
Okay.
Park forward here.
Are they pretty cheap?
Yeah, they're very durable.
The only other question that I had was,
Well, we need to
as we
talk
take down the tank, if you have the structure underneath, is that going to pose some problems, or are there special ways that can be utilized to take down that tank so you don't drop those sections of the tank on the structure below?
Well, we
Because
never-
that's,
Like I said, I dismantled, like 12 tanks, the ones in El Centro.
right.
The way we do it is, we cut it in pieces, and we have the crane, and we lower it down with the crane. We don't just cut it.
You don't drop it.
Yeah, so we kind of drop it and lower it down, cut it piece by piece. It's exactly the same way that we build it and we rip away.
Okay.
Before I go, I know it looks good, but just want to make sure how many people came here to support this as well, and thank you. So we have a groundswell support in many areas. People who are ready to donate their time, companies who are going to help us, but they want to make sure it's official. Can't blame them. And people will give us more money once we know it's moving and we spend that first part as well. Thank you.
And really, this is the appropriate step. I mean, coming to council and seeking that support, so.
Right.
What, do we need to take some kind of, give some kind of direction
Well,
to staff?
Yeah, I
or-
think we should do that.
Make a motion.
One of the things I would like to say, though, is that I think Miguel is very deserving of this. I served with him for a long time, but I knew him for many years before that. And I think he's very deserving. He was very active in that area and very active at that park, and I think it's a good thing. And as far as the concept goes, I fully support that. I think I would like to see us take a motion
I'll make a motion.
to, not necessarily to identify any kind of funding or anything, but just a motion to approve the concept and then recognizing our financial constraints, and then giving staff guidance in that motion for future consultation with the groups from the Brawley Parks and Rec side and also from an engineering side.
Is that a motion, Mr. Mayor? Is that a motion, or would you like for a motion to be made?
Well, hang on.
Just two items of note, just want to make sure council and community are aware. Our two most distressed funds are the general fund and the water enterprise fund, which was the cause for the water and sewer rate study. So just want to be sure that I clearly share with the council and community that particular, the water fund in particular, we're not able to complete capital projects yet that are in line at the water plant for features to be addressed from an improvement point of view. So in the future, council will be in the decision-making seat as to some very tough decisions about what to do first, including the Main Street water replacement project in that mix as well. And secondly, wanted to also remind and share with the community that the Community and Development Services Department is currently working with Parks and Recreation on a large number of ADA improvements in Xhosa Park. It's a great opportunity to improve access, physical access to the property and meet a national objective of housing and community development, which is making specifically ADA improvements. But the flip side is that there's timing associated with it that's extremely aggressive, and we know we will be up against the wall to expend the eligible funds by September of 2018. So the period in which there's many requirements attached to those dollars as to how we go out to bid and what the construction period is, and we'll do our very best to work with community advocates on how to make sure the timing of their activities and the timing of use of well over $500,000 in funds identified for Xhosa Park improvements, that we don't lose one. Instead, we have
Certainly.
the benefit of both.
Okay.
And I think there is that understanding.
Okay. And I don't think,
Yes.
yes.
Mr.
yes.
Mayor, was that a motion, Mr. Mayor, or would you?
No,
like
I
one?
think I'd like to have a more concise motion, and maybe you could make one.
I'll make the motion to approve the support of a community stage at Xhosa Park, and also support the naming as the Miguel Miranda El Amigo de la Comunidad community stage.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments, any additional comments from the audience?
Just that, I think this is a great idea. I think this is a great concept. And naming it after me again, I think he would be very proud to be, and he probably is. He's probably watching down and saying thank you, very proud of himself. And to his wife and the family. Just again, the monies is my only concern for us because at where we're at and other projects that we have, as Rosanna said. So just keeping that in mind, other than that, I'm for it.
All right. If there are not any additional comments, then I'll call for the question. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Okay. Okay.
Even though we could have had it down free,
Yeah.
I'll never let you forget it.
Okay. Let them kind of clear out a little bit. Max is barely getting around.
Thank you, Max.
Hey, Max, you just got here. Now that you're making you get up and go again. Take care.
Bye-bye.
And by the way, we had our Calapat council member.
I didn't, yeah, we did not recognize.
Yeah, we did, I'm sorry.
Okay. Under regular business 4C, discussion and staff direction regarding Main Street striping. Guillermo?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Guillermo Sillas, Public Works Director. At the request of the council member Helen and also resident concerned about the visibility of the striping at Main Street, we did a preliminary evaluation of the existing condition and the cost to install the most basic striping with the consideration not to spend too much money because the necessary resurfacing that is required. And the analysis was that it was done from 1st Street to Best Road, along Main Street. The first segment from 1st Street to Palm Avenue is mostly made of markers, which are the ceramic dots, let's say, with reflective markers. And then from Palm to Best Road is mostly paint. And as was mentioned, is not in good shape. And the reason that we haven't done a restriping project there is because, as you know, the condition of the Main Street required resurfacing with replacement of water line from 1st Street to 8th Street, and we haven't secured enough resources to do this replacement, and we haven't moved forward with Main Street resurfacing. That would include the striping project. So a very preliminary estimate of $45,000 will be to do the basic striping with paint. The paint is retroreflective, but no markers, and it will be visible at night and during the day. We would like to put to your consideration how to proceed, if you want to discuss about it, and questions.
Okay, and I understand the projects that, we're having to do, but also it's been an ongoing project for a few years that we're going to fix it, and I know because of monies and stuff. So I don't think it's going to be within the next 2 years or 3 years. I'm not sure what the time frame we're looking at to fix that, but I do believe that striping and reflectors are important, like the gentleman said, especially for seniors that are driving. It would be very helpful for them. Their eyesight, including myself, it's not as good. But when you have reflectors on the roadway, it sure makes a difference for us. So I really wish that my council would consider spending those $45,000 from the monies that Caltrans has given us to spend on the Main Street.
And
Can I
Go
ask a
ahead.
question, Mr.
Yes.
Mayor? What is the timeframe for the water replacement project?
So,
Right now, what are we looking at?
The budgeted capital project was at $1 million. Our estimate is at a little over $2 million. We are in the process of pursuing any number of funding sources to see if we can develop a financing plan that ideally would have more grant than loan. Because of the state of the water fund, it can't really accommodate more commitments. Our hope is that we have a financing plan by the end of this fiscal year. And the project is 100% designed, so once the funds are secured, we are able to put it out to bid and proceed with the project. The project in and of itself, just to kind of give council a sense of the scale, is well over 12 months' worth of construction activity on Main Street.
Right. So
With
it's gonna be-
diverted traffic off segments of Main. It's a very large-scale project. When it is undertaken, it will literally be the most talked about project in terms of changing circulation patterns of travelers
Right.
because of inconvenience.
It'll also inconvenience cattle calls, so be
Yes.
prepared for that too. And that's going to be a major
One
issue
year,
for the
yes.
parade and maybe some other things. I think we can temporarily probably take some steps to alleviate that, but certainly it's going to have a major impact on everyone.
Is there some consideration for doing a portion of the striping that would be projected to be lesser impacted as far as that first to eighth
So a
segment? In other
a
words,
shortened
segment,
portion,
a
let's say
shortened
from
portion,
8
because
to
we're going to stripe something
to
that could be
best.
torn up.
Yes.
in a
Well,
year.
I'm thinking that.
Would
The
be
striping
putting
won't
good money
last
after
long
bad.
to
Well,
begin
one of the
with,
things that I
because it's just
noticed was,
paint.
it seems
Right.
to be worse when you go over past Eighth and over the railroad tracks and then out that way. It seems to be much, much worse there than it is here to be visible, to see things. Here on Main Street, down this Main Street path here, out by Dollar Tree and everything, it seems to be much better. And when you get out onto the highway, Caltrans has got theirs pretty much covered. So I think we have a segment here, but then I think the worst segment, though, for really identifying lane is past Eighth and out that direction. So if we
Because of
do
the
have
lighting,
striping,
too.
I'd rather have that striping done first and then come back to this, since we're gonna tear this up anyway, is what we're really talking about. And so we can go back and do it all, and that might be okay, because it doesn't seem like First to Eighth is that far. But the segment out there is
Out
where
to
it seems
Best
to
Road?
give more,
Yeah.
that seems to give people more problems at night.
So, okay, so I heard the question about what is the time frame. I heard that it would take the project a year, but I still did not understand, are we starting in December, or are we starting, it'll
no
take
start.
a year before we start, and then it's gonna take
There's
another.
no guarantee
We don't
because
have the
we're
money.
seeking financing
$1 million.
options.
We need $1 million.
We don't
So-
have the money.
Exactly, so that's why I'm saying, because this is a long-term project,
Yeah,
you know,
go ahead and strike
I
and
think
move
that
on.
$45,000 is well worth spending for that. I mean, he does it,
I don't disagree.
I don't know,
think-
I haven't physically really gone out and driven at night to see, like you said.
I have.
I mean,
It's
I
bad.
know it's pretty bad on that side, but,
Yes.
I mean, to really compare, what is your opinion, or what's staff's opinion as far as how bad, is the whole section needs to be redone, do you feel, or?
Right, well, there's two levels, let's say, but I have to revisit it because the engineer that did the assessment is younger than us. So probably in his eyes, is in better condition. I mean, I'm talking myself, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Myself.
it's true.
He's
Okay,
younger than
it's
me.
true. Uh-huh.
He's not wearing glasses, right? So it depends on with the eyes that you see it. But
Yes.
from engineering point of view, supposedly it is from First to Palm is the worst case.
From First to Palm.
Right. But, it's different because it's markers, it's ceramic markers with some reflectors,
Yes,
reflecting
yes.
markers.
I've seen that.
One or two maybe that you
seen any
can able
reflectors.
to align yourself, but from the other section that is from Palm to East, West, it's just paint.
Yes.
And it's faded and no reflective and, it
There's
depends of
really- people-
how familiar you are with the
people move
with the area
around.
too,
Right.
right?
I
You
do
can
drive
align
out there, but I
yourself.
don't normally drive out there at night, so I guess I have to take a drive out.
I have driven it at night, it is bad. It is not, for somebody that is paying a lot of attention and everything, you can maneuver it. However, if your eyesight is not good, and maybe you shouldn't be driving, but if your eyesight's not good, then it can be, I think, an ongoing problem for you. I think it is a little dangerous, and I think we need to do something about it. That's the only thing I would say. And I think that if we have to spend the $45,000 to stripe it, I think we ought to stripe it. I don't know how long the striping will last, though, because what I
How long
notice about
does it
striping
really?
on crosswalks and everything else is within about 6-month time period, with the tires crossing and everything, it pretty much wears out, so.
Right. Unfortunately, on the, let's say that when we finally do the Main Street resurfacing, it will be very good idea to do it with markers only.
Right.
Because those are maintenance-free and last longer.
Yes, I agree.
But the striping, the paint is cheaper at this time.
point in
At this, it's cheaper, so we can afford it, let's say, better than the other alternative, considering that we will remove it. But unfortunately, the downside of that is that with the heat that we have here, it will stain very quick. It's still visible at night, but maybe during the daytime, it won't be as
visible,
as bright as initially installed, right? But it will serve the purpose at night.
So the 45,000 includes the
Markers,
the
no,
markers?
just paint.
Oh, that's just paint?
Just paint. Uh-huh.
There would be no markers,
I mean, it will be like Cesar Chavez, let's say, that it's recently installed, so it will be something similar to that. No markers, but paint
Just paint.
recently installed. It
I
will
think
be
it's a
same.
stopgap measure. I think
It
we need
is.
to do it, just move along. I mean, I don't see it as, I think we need to stripe it and go forward. I think people will be happy with the striping for a while. It may wear out, maybe we'll have other solutions before we get to
I
that point.
honestly think it's good money, not wasted.
So is it council's direction this evening for staff to prepare a budget adjustment and to place the striping project into the queue?
Is it a budget adjustment, or does
I thought
it
it-
come specifically from the relinquishment?
We would still
funds?
need
Is
a
it-
budget adjustment
Okay.
to program use of the
Yeah,
funds
right,
because
yeah.
they're not programmed for use.
Okay.
They're sitting in an
They're
account
in an account.
earmarked only for Main Street and 8th Street. Don't want to forget 8th Street. There is,
Oh,
that's
yes.
also relinquished and part
Okay,
of our
yes.
obligation for improvement now.
Have we used any of the funds in the past?
We have used zero of the dollars, and per direction provided to Ruby, the accruals associated with the interest are staying with the account,
Okay.
knowing that our obligations to maintain that road for those 2 roadway segments for the rest of time is a tall order financially. So it's entirely intact. The interest is accruing with the principal and in an earmarked account, and it has not been touched.
Let's make sure people know that, the public knows that, because we get accused of using that money when we have not.
I just-
And I want to make sure that.
And having said that, I would
everybody's
just also be very careful that we don't open the bank and saying,
Right.
we're going to start to use the fund over and over again. So
This
that's
is a
the other-
temporary
yeah.
use, I think, for safety measures, and I think it's appropriate at this point.
One other topic that has come up with some regularity relative to the relinquishment is a lot of members of the public weren't necessarily aware that the northerly extension of 8th Street was included in the relinquishment. And I've had a lot of contact with property owners along 8th Street that really hope that the council will one day debate whether the resources should be devoted to the commercial uses that are along 8th Street versus Main Street, and it is a public policy discussion to be had at a future, a date, because
Right.
they won't both be able to be accomplished in
Right.
total
Yeah.
with the dollars available.
Okay, all right.
One comment that I would like to make is that we have scheduled 27 large projects for this fiscal year. We are trying to accomplish, and we have several commitments with money that we have deadlines to finalize the project, as was mentioned before, in Xhosa, bus stop shelters,
Yeah.
and others. So this project will be added to the list, and just
Would
for
you
consideration.
when would you anticipate, this as a guess, when you would be able to do the
To
strike?
even get to this, yeah.
Or if you can even get to
Where
that
would
this
that
year?
go, fall into
No,
the
but
20?
I will need to check the priorities, because we have very tight deadlines with some projects that we will be in risk to lose the funds if we don't move forward and fast.
Could you bring us back a report at the next meeting, and then we'll see where we go from there? Right now, I think our direction is to move a little bit forward with this, put it on the list, start the budget adjustment and everything, and then maybe make a report to us at the next meeting as to when you anticipate it. And we won't hold you to that. I think it's just going to be a projection. But when you anticipate you would be able to get to that.
What year, right?
Yeah, what year. That's, yeah, okay. All right, so why don't we do that? Report
Yes,
next
sure.
meeting, and we'll start the process. So is that okay? All right, all right. Is that okay with the council?
Is that a motion, or is that a?
Was that
Well, I don't know.
It's just staff
I don't know, is that staff, that's staff direction, right? We don't need a motion for this, right?
Okay.
Staff direction, okay. All right, now moving right ahead to 4D is discussion and potential action to reschedule our November 7th, 2017 regular city council meeting. And I think that was partly at my request. I would like to see us reschedule that meeting. There's a variety of things going on that day. It's election day. We also have some cattle call activities on that day, and I would like to see us reschedule that meeting.
I agree.
Mr. Mayor, we have had our meetings on the day of the elections in the past. I'm not necessarily available other Tuesdays of the month, so if there could be some consideration for maybe a noon meeting or even one a little bit sooner than the 6 p.m., whether that's at 4 p.m. or 5 p.m., if there's some consideration for that, I would appreciate that.
I'm willing to entertain that. A noon meeting doesn't bother me. I think maybe the public may not be able to attend quite as readily at noon, although at lunchtime they would have an hour if we can keep the agenda small for that meeting. The other, I'm willing to entertain an earlier meeting. I would like to see us something around 4 o'clock. That might also impact the public, though. But I don't know whether 4 o'clock or noon impacts them more or the other. I don't know the difference there. I think I'm willing to entertain any kind of change. I just would prefer not to have that at 6 o'clock on Tuesday evening.
Totally agree.
That's my only concern.
Yeah.
I'll have it a different day. I would have it a different hour. I'm usually available. I know some of you are not, and so I understand those
My
those
calendar is open right
restrictions.
now, so, whatever.
Mine is too.
What about,
Whichever day or time.
I was inclined to go with the earlier. I think there were some
Earlier
ideas
that
tossed
week?
around. Yeah, I'm only reacting to that, but I mean, I would be, I guess, open to another date. Just depends on the date.
Okay.
And I would prefer not to have it on that day,
on which day?
on the
On
7th,
the election day.
on the election day.
I prefer not to have it.
Would the 6th work for anybody here? That's
Monday?
the Monday.
No,
Monday
that's
would-
the chamber mixer day, and that'll be at 6 o'clock or 5:30. That's chamber mixer at
Well,
the.
But we can do
Yeah, that-
it
'cause that's
before
kind
that.
of
We can do it at
Before that.
noon.
Yeah, we can do it at noon
We
or
could
4
do it
o'clock.
at 4 o'clock on that day.
That works for me.
As long as we keep the agenda not where we have, like today, this was a pretty good agenda. I didn't realize it was gonna be that long, but it was a big agenda. It's taking us a little bit more time. That would have to be a quicker agenda,
Mayor
2 hours or
Couchman,
less.
I believe there was a request by council to include a mobile home park update on the next meeting's
Yes.
agenda as
kind
well.
of-
Yes.
So this
Kind of
is
kind of
with
pushing it,
reference
you
to
know.
the next
I think
meeting,
it's-
so I think.
We're busy. I mean,
I think 2 hour, I think
I
4
think
o'clock or
maybe
noon, it
after.
doesn't bother me either way. I think
At noon?
if we can accommodate everybody and make it work, that's what I would.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it's the same day, but we do it earlier or whatever. I mean, that doesn't bother me.
Is there a day you're proposing?
Yeah.
I didn't have any date proposed because I'm available most of the time frames, except
The
for
one that
that.
was thrown out
The
was the
8th?
second, right?
Yes, the second.
I
But
can't-
I
That
think
doesn't
somebody, you
work.
can't
I'm
make
not
second,
here.
you-
Not
they
here.
can't make the second.
Okay, that's fine.
so. I was thinking the week after. I mean, we might set something
We'll
up there.
have two meetings,
But, and I don't know
in a
that
row,
that's a
or-
problem.
I don't have anything the following week, so I'm open to the following week. If we wanna
14th?
Push it forward.
Do we need to have a meeting on the 7th, or even, can we wait until the 21st?
We have about 8 items. If you give me 1 second, I can grab our list of
14th
pending,
before we
just
vote.
for any sensitive.
The introduction.
So
Yeah.
it doesn't collide with mariachi
8th is the
festival.
mariachi
I know that
festival. We
night,
could
I
do it
know.
at noon.
But I'm saying, what about an earlier meeting on the 8th?
You could
It's
have
the
one
day
meeting
after the election. There's actually not gonna make
Yes.
sense.
There's nothing pending. Time
Earlier.
sensitive. I got
I
one
have
meeting in
I
November.
have a
One
small
meeting in
conflict.
November?
I mean, I may be able to
Yeah.
get out.
On the 8th.
The regular
Okay, I'm just
meeting,
throwing that out.
which is
I'm
We
thinking
could
maybe the
essentially do
following
one
week, the
meeting in,
14th.
we could do one meeting in November.
I won't
Let's
be
just do
here.
one meeting.
You won't be here on that
14th?
week, on the 14th.
The only one that appears to be particularly urgent, we have one item for closed session, and we have the UV analyzer project. And Guillermo, I'm going to look to you as to timing. Could the UV analyzer wait a week? Does it matter one way or the other? No? Okay. There are about 10 items that were planned, but none of them are urgent. I mean, they could theoretically,
We'll just have a longer meeting on the 21st.
it's fine, as you wish.
We can do that. I'm willing to do that.
Okay.
Okay, and if we have an emergency meeting, we can always
We'll reach
schedule
out.
an emergency
Yeah.
meeting prior to that if we need to. And that would be after Veterans Day, after the cattle call, and then I think that would be a better time.
That will mean our director, Pat Dorsey, will retire off into the sunset without a public meeting.
Oh, dear.
But we can find another way to.
Come over.
to
We'll
make
make
it
it
nicer.
We'll bring her to that. We'll bring her to
How
that.
much she
You have-
lives in El Centro.
Do we have your promise to come to that next meeting on the 20th?
You'll have to come back to the meeting, right?
Oh, she's not making any.
She's like, no.
Oh, she won't. No.
You'll
You're
be
gonna
gone
out of
already?
town?
Will you be here in
Okay,
December?
chief. We got, the chief's got it under
He's
control.
got his
He's
cuffs
got it
out.
under control.
All right.
Oh, well, okay. Well, we'll figure out something for
Okay.
Pat.
We'll figure
We'll have a
something out
special
for
We
meeting.
can do it in
We'll-
December.
we'll-
She'll be back in December.
Okay.
Figure something out.
We'll figure it out. All right.
Gotta do something.
We'll send Kelly after her.
Okay.
I do.
All right. So we're going to go to one meeting in November,
Okay.
and that will be on the, well, I don't even have my calendar out. So that's the 20-something? 21st. 21st? 21st of November. Okay. That'll be a long. All right. It'll be a long meeting. Okay. With
We'll be okay. They're not.
With that done, I would like to entertain an opportunity for Mr. Ryan Kelly to come forward. Would you like to?
He looks like he's on vacation
Report
today.
anything? No? I was just extending the opportunity. You don't have to take me up on it. That's
I
fine.
would call it more of a staycation.
All right.
He doesn't want to be on camera being so casual.
Then I will go to item
How about,
5.
does David have anything to report for Chamber?
Chamber, anything to report on Chamber? No?
I believe
David?
Mr. Cañas is here for protocol.
I guess it's
Yeah.
out because everybody knows what the cattle call schedule is, but there will be an additional event on Saturday after rodeo.
Yeah, why don't you come up
No,
and
we
tell us?
don't, we don't know about that
Tell
one.
us about the additional event.
Yeah.
I know about the additional event, but please fill everybody else in. I know everything.
This was brought up later,
Don't share.
and I guess the negotiations have been completed. So we've never had an event after rodeo or after the parade. Usually by 1, 2 o'clock, we're done. We've had a request, and Clay Walker, who is a very well-known country western singer, started his career back in the early 90s, still a big draw. He's doing a free concert in Brawley on Main Street that evening after rodeo. So basically, he's going to go on about 8, 9 o'clock. We'll have an event probably before that, and we're expecting probably anywhere between 5 and
7,000 people.
And,
What if the 10?
yeah, it could be as much as 10. It's a huge draw. We're gonna see people from all over Southern California and probably Arizona and maybe a few more. People will come out for that.
Right.
So we're looking forward
About
to a
from Heber?
great
Will they
event.
come from Heber? No?
Yes?
From
Oh,
Heber?
yes,
Will they come from Heber?
Yeah. Yeah,
Possibly.
yeah,
We may even have Calexico people here.
Are you
right,
having
yeah.
seating?
Heber Beach.
Any kind of seating?
It's bring your own chairs,
Yes.
sit in the grass.
It's a free concert.
Yeah.
I mean.
Where, yeah, it's in,
No, it'll be-
No, it's gonna be basically where we have the mariachi night. Stage will be set up there. And it was going to be in the kiosk and all, but it
It
wasn't
won't
gonna fit.
accommodate it. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
So we'll have our beer garden available, but Patty's should be open at that time, and Inferno will be open, so there'll be plenty of places to
Elks will
work
be
with.
open.
Elks
And,
Correct.
so we're gonna work with all 3 locations, plus our law enforcement, to make sure we got plenty of security, so we don't have any problems. And, but that's gonna be a great event, I think, for that day. So that's the only additional one coming up. Everybody, all the other schedules are already out.
City Council acted on the request for the sale and consumption of alcohol at our
Got it.
last
Right.
council
Got
meeting. And based on recent updates from the chamber, we're still nailing down the final details, but there's a lot of communication and coordination occurring between City of Brawley departments. Specifically, our public safety folks
Right,
will be
right.
coordinating access for any medical services that might be needed. Our police department will also be present and Public Works to ensure that there's a safe path of travel.
Yeah, we'll probably have one more meeting, I guess, pretty soon, as soon as we schedule it, so we get all those details worked out. Our biggest, because of the large number, mariachi night usually 5,000 to 7,000
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
This is going to be higher. And so we want to make sure we've got sufficient security to cover. We're going to have a lot of outside people that we're not used to having for that event. So, plus all the rodeo people, they usually go home after the rodeo, they're coming to the concert. So that's the
I
only
did,
thing.
I actually,
Yes.
somebody posted it on Facebook, and then you could even hear his music on there, so that was, because I wasn't familiar with his music, so I listened to him on Facebook.
No, he's got a great voice, puts on a great show,
That's great.
and so
We're getting
he's,
back to our country western days.
yes.
And it's
Yes,
free
we are.
because?
Because they wanted to, he is, I don't have all the deal, but he's an investor in a local business here in the valley, and it's I think it's a hay.
He's an investor in a local business here and involved with some local people, and they arranged, and he indicated a desire to assist the chamber and also assist the city with their cattle call celebration. I believe they're involved in the lithium mining thing related to geothermal and stuff, and maybe some other thing, maybe hay also. I'm
Well,
not
there's
sure.
some farming, there's a
on
farm
that.
attached to it, but they
There's
are
some farms
involved in
attached to
the
that,
lithium,
but
so.
But
With that many people, we can do a 50-50.
well, good, I can win again, right? I mean, there we go.
It's for the
So I
shade,
won
it's
one
for the
already.
shade.
That's right.
Okay, but that's great.
David,
But-
that's
but,
an idea for the chamber,
Yes.
yeah.
Mrs. Williams, I
They'll be
think, is
working
involved
hard
in
to
this,
Yes.
the Mrs. Williams. And there was a lot of people involved in that, approaching the chamber, and I think it's been a great deal to work this out.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be fantastic, when we're looking at, our only concern is just the safety factor, because there's so many outside people
Yeah,
that we're not
so-
used to
so
having.
many.
So we're gonna track all of that and make sure we have a great event.
But the
We'll-
performer has requirements for safety too, and they have
Yes.
certain requirements that they want in terms of security and all of that, and that's gonna all be adhered to. So
That's all gonna get covered, all the details are in the process now, so.
Okay. It means, I think it's a great event for cattle call.
Okay, so, and as of this afternoon, I guess, or this early afternoon, all the booths for the parade are sold out. So, and there's a little bit left for chili cook-off and a little bit left for mariachi night, but not very much.
Okay.
So people are really signing up. It's going to
Very
be a big
good.
deal.
Very
Oh.
good. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you,
Lot of
David.
cleanup.
Thank you, David.
Thank you. I would like to take an opportunity to recognize Fidel Flores from the Calipatria City Council. Did you want to say a few words, or are you just visiting?
Well, I'm visiting. I just want to see how you guys, do your agenda and everything. And I was pleased. So I got an idea.
Fantastic.
Okay.
And not just give him support and give me that, because he was a good friend of mine.
Yes, and
I think that's a great concept. I think he deserves it, and because everybody knows it.
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for coming.
All right.
Thank you, Councilman.
Okay, and
We'll
going,
send
moving.
Sam to go see yours.
Oh, I've been over there.
And
So-
Bill knows about it.
Yeah, Bill can give us an update. On 5 departmental reports. I think the first one is the 2017 Cattle Call Parade Chair Protocol for Main Street. And I know we're all waiting for that.
Also known as Sam's Law.
Sam's Law, that's it.
So,
Okay. Yes,
Guillermo
Rosanna.
is the preparer
Oh.
of the report here
Okay.
for this evening and the timeframes that have been established for
Have we
placement
moved
of
them
chairs.
earlier?
Well, we have a holiday
6
on
a.m.
Friday, so it's a little different than it
Oh,
would be
it
normally.
is, yes, oh, okay,
Page
all right.
58.
Good evening
Yes,
again,
go
Mr.
ahead.
Mayor and members of the council. Guillermo Sillas, Public Works Director. Pretty much this church protocol is the same as the previous 2 years, just the dates change. In this case, November 11 is the parade, and the chairs will be allowed to install on Thursday, the previous Thursday at 6 a.m. They can, the 9 of November, which is a Thursday, at 6 a.m.
6 a.m. they can
Right.
go up.
And it will be exactly the same, providing enough access to pedestrians on the walkways, sidewalks, and so any questions that you might have,
Next year it'll be Wednesday at 6 a.m.? No.
Probably.
Just funning with you, just funning with you. I think Thursday in the AM is plenty of time for people to set up their chairs. It does become a struggle later on during the time period. I will state that since I will probably be riding in the parade, I will not have the benefit, but I'll have to set up chairs early anyway. But I will not have maybe the benefit of sitting in them, but I will be, but it would still be a good idea. It's a nice thing, and we get to set them up early because Caltrans doesn't take them down anymore.
Right,
So
exactly.
that's always a good thing.
So we'll be posting this notice as we do every year, sending it out via our text messaging as well and on the city website. Want to also note, based on last year's, we had some instances last year where we struggled with accommodating folks who have physical disabilities on our blue benches that are very, very near their end of life.
Yes.
We're hoping to place them one final time this parade season, but we will be working with the chamber to treat those bottom rows as an ADA accessible with attendant. We had some real struggles last year.
Yes.
Trying to work with folks and trade out seat locations, and they just would not cooperate. And provide a seat at the bottom for someone who's physically disabled.
Are they all painted blue?
Yes.
Is that what, oh, it's too bad.
But we'll be using some type of paper
You'll do
placement
something.
for
You'll do
lower
something.
rows and working together. We have a team of folks who work those benches and try to make it as safe as possible and accommodate all the needs.
Is there a way to block off a section next to it, a small section next to it
Maybe that
for
would be
people that
better.
are handicapped and set some type of ability, maybe some kind of little thing that they could set wheelchairs on or maybe something that where someone could maneuver that and maybe have a chair there, or maybe a small set of bleachers or a small set of chairs and some.
So
Or
our movable benches are not
They won't.
standard standard features
Right.
for modern or
Right.
2017 standards. The best way for us to accommodate, what happens is the same anywhere else on Main Street where the chair scooting phenomenon.
Yeah, I got
People
that.
inch and inch and inch
Yeah,
until
right.
there is literally no further space. And a few of us work very closely. David and I happen to have this special assignment the last couple of years, and every year it's become more and more challenging, even to keep minimal clearance.
Right.
Folks stake out space. It's very, aside from involving
can tell you
PD,
that.
it
Been
gets
there,
to be
done that.
really challenging.
Even if we rope off and put handicap seats?
We're gonna work to identify those lower areas because that's the easiest for someone to walk on and sit with one attendant.
What I found kind of difficult was that because they're handicapped, a lot of them are in wheelchairs and they can't get up, on top, or even the first row there. So that's why I'm saying if there was a possibility of, keeping a section by the benches, the bleachers, where a section where they just for wheelchairs.
We can plan for a specific section,
You could
but the
rope it
majority
off
of people who are coming with ADA issues are on foot. They're not in
Oh.
they just have an
No,
issue
no, but-
hopping up without side rails and other
Yes.
features that would be customary on benches.
And most of the time they're
Stacked.
groups too. A lot of them are
There can be
groups.
Yes, so
groups
they don't
too.
want to separate. There's a
Right.
lot of
And that was gonna be my
challenges.
comment too, because then if you limit a section, it's almost like you're discriminating and putting them all like, hey, this is the only place you can view it too.
Yeah,
You
and
know
they
what
go
I mean?
and they go with family. And because
Yeah.
I went
Yeah.
last year and I observed that. I went over to where the bleachers were, and
Yeah.
I understand. I mean, this is just the way people are. A lot of people go out there real early, or they
Yes.
had their passes,
Right.
and they went and they saved their seats, and they saved the seats for their family, and so they don't want to move.
They're not
you
gonna
know?
move either. I got
So-
news for you. I've
It
been
makes it
through this
really difficult.
before
Very challenging.
when I
But
was very
the
young.
handicap area wouldn't work for that reason, I don't think. It's because they
mean-
go with family, so it's kind of hard to separate them.
Darn near anarchy.
David's got a comment.
Yes, David, would you like to come up with a comment?
There's a few gentlemen and women.
That if you allow one person to join that ADA person,
Yes.
so if they're in a walker, or they just can't lift their legs long enough to get up to the second tier, provide them just that first tier of benches,
and allow one other person join them, and then the rest of the family can sit behind them. Because some have the kids, the younger people, they can get up and climb and move around. But we want to take those that have that difficult point of lifting their legs to get up. And again, there's no rails or anything, so it's a difficult climb. So that was the idea for the first one. And to put it in a nice way, people are very passionate of where they sit and where they've been sitting.
You think so, huh?
They want to sit in the same place every year.
David, you're in charge.
So
the only thing I will share with you is, once, you've got to not let them sit down to begin with. You've got to stop the people that are not disabled from sitting in those seats. Once they're there, that's when you have the major difficulty, because they're not willing to move. And at cattle call, I've noticed that's when most people are never willing to move. And so one of the things you have to deal with is, if you can stop them from sitting in those seats, then you're okay. But the minute people start to sit in those seats, moving them is not an option. You're going to have a problem, and it's going to be a big problem. And, and I think that's
we're going to have
something
additional volunteers guiding people at the bleachers, and we're going to have additional security also to keep. There's 2 walkways there where people have come out on walkers, so they can't, and people actually go and put a chair over there and just block everything off. And,
I got that.
So we want to keep that open. And in case of an emergency, EMTs aren't going to get through there.
No.
And so we want to keep that in mind based on last year's events. And I think it'll work. And I think the additional bunch we mark off that first bench. I think most people will understand, so they've got one family member sits with one family member that cannot climb, and everybody else can sit behind them. So if you get there early enough, you'll get those lower chairs.
You got to tell them that.
Yeah. And we'll work from there.
We'll see how it works.
Yeah.
Hope you got your Kevlar.
It's gonna be difficult regardless, right?
It always is.
John,
It's always difficult because of the numbers.
It's always an issue, but I think, a little bit at a time, but getting through the sidewalk, that was the biggest problem with people, and.
That's always been a
challenge. Maybe when we get new bleachers, we can address this issue. I think right now, we're just doing the best we can with what we have and moving right along. Okay, all right. Okay, so we've got that.
Thank you again.
Council member reports. I'll go to council member reports. Start with Norma, I think.
Okay, well, I think we all made it to the Busy Bee floral ribbon cutting. That was very nice, and I think that they really appreciated the support of all our council members being there, and Rosanna being there, and of course all the chamber and the public that attended. She's got a lot of beautiful gifts and floral arrangements, and we all praised her for keeping that place as nice as it is, and all indicated we would be fully supporting her business and getting the word out to everybody. So if you haven't been out there, try to make it out there to Busy Bee. She has beautiful things to floral arrangements that you can buy for your family and stuff. And then I made it to the fire department's fire prevention open house on Saturday, and that, in spite of all the different things that were going on in Brawley, because I looked at my calendar and I was like, okay, this is happening and that's happening. So we went over there, and that was very well attended. I think there was more people there this year than there were last year, at least while I was there. A lot of kids, a lot of support from the community, a lot of support for our firemen, and I think we all realized that our chief and some of our firemen were not here because they were out there fighting fires in Santa Rosa. And so we had a lot of the volunteers assisting, and it was a great event, nice event for the community every year. So I applaud our fire department and our staff for that. Oh, wait.
Okay. Go ahead.
I forgot one
Go
thing,
ahead.
very important.
Go ahead.
The Reach helicopter, Reach staff were out there too, and I met the new pilot, one of the new pilots, a very attractive, tall pilot.
Did you get
Whoa.
that? Let's get that on.
And so I made sure I went
Very
and introduced
memorable there,
myself.
huh?
Yes.
Wow, goodness,
She had to be
In uniform,
descriptive.
in uniform.
Right. Wow.
And managed to take a picture there in front of the helicopter. Yes, very nice.
Wow.
So he gave us a little.
Did you go by yourself?
We didn't fly.
Did you go by
but
yourself?
He showed us everything inside the
I know,
helicopter,
right?
and he offered to give us a little flight also.
Oh, really?
But
We'll make
yeah,
that
it was nice, very nice.
We'll make that up.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's go to Helen. Why don't you go ahead?
Also went to Busy Bee, and I have to say that she's very enthusiastic. She's a young businesswoman who is really going to go, I believe, a long ways. She has a lot of great ideas, and I think she might even go into another business, but we'll talk about that later. Went to the grand opening of Ridge Park Homes, and there's 4 different styles that they have, and he had quite a few people coming and going. Had food, like everywhere else. So then after that, that day was really there was a lot going on. We had Dia de la Raza. Went to Celico. They had Dia de la Raza, which was Eric Reyes and Max Reyes did their fundraiser there. And then from there, Sam and I, we were going to different places, and we ended up at Hidalgo Hall because they had Dia de la Raza too. Theirs started from 4 p.m. at the park, and then ended up in the evening with Firme and the Continentals. Both bands were playing, which was really, really nice. They had some difficulty at Celico with electrical, so the poor bands were going off and on over there. So we just decided to go dance over at the Hidalgo. But then after that was over, went back to Celico, and there was still quite a few people there. So in both places, be surprised, Brawley had so many people. They filled up both places. I mean, there was quite a bit. So it was a very interesting evening. And then, where else did I go? I don't know. Every day there's something going on.
Something else.
So we've been, we had the district Elks, people coming down to our Elks, and Sam and I were both there. And then on Monday night football, Sam brought over fried chicken and mashed potatoes and what else? It was good.
Mashed potatoes and biscuits and all
Yeah,
that
I
stuff.
thought he was
For
really.
Monday Night Football.
I thought he was a great cook. Come to find out, Mario cooked. Hacienda cooked it.
Hacienda did the cooking.
But
Wanted it to dessert.
yeah, so there's a lot going on in Brawley, quite a bit, especially now during election season. Okay, that's it for right now.
Okay, Don?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, and I know that also I'll probably remind some of my fellow council members, also some of the other events. I attended a Measure W discussion and get-together at the Stockman's Club. Also the Boys and Girls Club. They had their annual combo auction, always a great success. For me, this was the first time attending the Food Bank Harvest Bowl annual event. That was an excellent event. The food was tremendous. I had great company, too. I happened to sit next to our city manager, so we had a great time. And, of course, there was plenty of wine flowing. And then the Busy Bee Floral, excellent to see that and see that really one of our longtime established businesses, albeit, different name, but continue, the legacy continue, which is great to see. And last thing, I know there's a bunch of things to say, but I'm going to be quick. I do want to thank Pat for turning on the heater on the pool. Thank you. On behalf of all the swimmers.
George, I think you're up.
Mr. Mayor, I also attended the Busy Bee Floral ribbon cutting. Nice event. Thank you to the chamber and certainly to all the Busy Bee staff for keeping that business going. And,
With his beautiful baby daughter.
my daughter was there as well. That was her first mixer. So.
First mixer. One down.
All right. And so she asked me if she can go to Mariachi Festival. I said no. But yeah, no, not this year. Maybe next year. But I also attended the Brawley Fire Department open house, and I also saw a very handsome pilot out there. So, but no, Reach was out there, and all of our, we had a lot of call-paid firefighters out there. We had some other personnel from the police department as well out there. So it was a good event. The public was out and enjoying it and getting some hot dogs and refreshments and those sorts of things. And we also had another event that was taking place just down the road at the airport, which was the community cleanup. And by all accounts, at least from the people that shared their comments with me that were able to go down there and use the facility to dump off some trash, they said that the process was much, much improved. So I'm thankful to the city staff that helped with that process, also to Republic Services, who I met with recently, and they're anxious to help the community and help the city in any way that they can. So I'm happy to hear that, and I'm hopeful that we can again utilize their services for other community events. So good work on their behalf, and again, thank you to city staff for helping the process and the flow over at the airport for the disposal day. Just recently met right before this meeting with ICTC, as I mentioned to council previously. We are relocating to a new location, but there was some urgency today in that there was another tenant looking to locate in the spot where we had intended to go. So we had to formulate a plan to get it moving forward quickly. So that was good. And just quickly, I want to mention to everybody that, I had met with Republic Services. I know I briefly touched on that. But, I did check with city staff to see how our relationship has been and if there had been any community concerns or any things of importance that I should bring up. But from all accounts, from the city side, they're saying that things are moving forward in a very positive fashion. The one item that I did receive feedback on from the public, though, is the condition of our alleyways. And so I'm hoping that I can bring something forward to the city council here in the next month or so. And I hope it's a plan that we can work on with Republic Services to help at least a one-time cleanup of our alleyways, because they're, many of them are in bad shape. So anyway, that's my comment. I do want to thank everybody, and Pat, we're going to miss you, but thank you for everything you've done, and, we know where to find you. Don't worry.
When is your last day, Pat?
She's not telling. She's not
telling.
Yeah?
You're just gonna...
Yeah.
She's going to mosey out?
She's gonna try.
Yeah, she's gonna
She's gonna try. We'll find
That's
out.
not gonna happen.
I don't blame her.
But she's
Okay.
going to stay on the Memorial Wall Committee and the Parks and Recreation Committee.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
good.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Well, thank you,
Okay.
everyone.
Thank you very much. I'll do my report. Measure W informational meeting at Stockman's. I attended that. Boys and Girls Club combo auction, the Dia de la Raza event for Miguel Miranda's and the stage fundraiser at the Salico, I think.
Yes.
Hidalgo Society, I won the 50-50. I donated it back, though.
Yeah, he
so-
did.
So, but I did. Busy Bee ribbon cutting, that was a great event. I really liked that. Jay Goyal's open house on the houses out at Ridge Park, really nice. Community cleanup day, I took a washing machine in just to see how things were going, and my son helped me with that, and I thought things went pretty good. I thought they were moving people through the line really well, and I think they did a good job, and kudos to city staff and to the trash company for getting that more coordinated, and I think running it went a lot smoother, I think, than it has in the past. The fire station open house, really well attended. They ran out of everything, hot dogs, nachos, everything went. I think the only thing they had was shaved ice, up until maybe the end. Went to the Food Bank Harvest Bowl. I've been there before when it was last time in Brawley. I went again because it was in Brawley this time to support the food bank, and really worthy cause. They're working on a new facility, and it was a really neat event, really neat food. I just attended a meeting today with Assemblymember Garcia's and Senator Hueso's staff regarding grants for air pollution, renewable energy type situations, and reductions on air pollution, and also helping with parks and some other things. So we had a little discussion over there at their actually it wasn't at their offices, it was at Tim Kelly's site, and we went there, and they hosted the meeting, and we did discuss a lot of things, but I think it's all preliminary, and they're talking about new legislation that would give us some money for mitigate maybe air pollution from the Salton Sea, and some other mitigation things that we can utilize for greening, for green community and green community areas and that type of thing. So it's all preliminary, but we're talking with them, and at least we're getting that information. I had an Elks Monday Night Football, which I hosted. I had an Elks meeting that they had with their district governor came down. We had a meeting there, and I'm a member of the Elks, and I think Helen was there, a bunch of other people were there, and we had a nice greeting for those people.
What do you think? Who served you your dessert?
Well, that's right. Helen served the dessert. Helen was there. But there were a lot of other members of this community there, and the Elks were really happy to host that. Okay, we also I went to the Mormon Church in El Centro for a stake meeting that they had, and it was regarding their issues within the community, what they're doing for the community. And we made a lot of people, even though it was in El Centro, there were a lot of the Mormon people from Brawley that were there at that event. I was invited, the city manager also attended, and it was a real nice event with them. So I did all of that, and that's my report. I appreciate all the city staff being out there, and I see them busy all the time. and I appreciate what they've been doing for the city. So thank you very much. And moving right along to city manager's report.
Nothing further.
Nothing to report. City attorney's report.
I can report that we don't need a closed session because I talked about it in open session.
Okay, very good. That's great. City clerk's report.
The reminder of the league dinner next Thursday.
Okay.
Calexico.
That's right.
So let
next
me know by
Thursday.
Friday.
Whoa, all
please.
right.
And it's the same night as a mixer
Inferno.
at
Rotary
Inferno.
Fall Social.
And then that
And-
morning
is that
night,
the
you guys
same-
have
it's
a
all the
meeting
same
at
night.
12.
Yeah.
Bill, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
Okay.
Bill, your
the
report was my
morning
favorite
thing and
report
then
of all.
the dinner.
Okay, so we do not need a closed session, is my understanding? So I will move for adjournment.
So moved.
So
Second.
moved. All right, all those in favor?
Aye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
8:20.